NERIAH, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I am finally hanging out here with NERIAH, and I'm excited that our Zooms didn't work out because now we get to be here in person. So nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Now, before we dive in and talk about the music, I want to talk about the tour that you were just on with Alexander Stewart. Because, you know, he's another artist that is starting to make a name for himself, and being a part of this tour while you just dropped an EP, like what was that vibe and experience like for you?
It was amazing. I mean, my first time being on the road on a full, tour, and it was 3 shows, and it was just incredible to be able to, see how he does it, and to be able to meet his fans and open up for such a lovely artist. So it was great.
What did you learn from being on tour? Like your first experiences, do's and
I can
don'ts?
anywhere, anywhere, which is great.
Is that a good thing?
I brought a pillow. It's a great thing. I brought a pillow, and I was, in the back of the van. I was like, "Good night, guys." And what else? I think, I think I definitely learned new things with performing these songs to different cities was really cool, and just seeing them have a whole nother world live than they would in the studio. And I think, gearing into now really finishing the album, that's something I'll definitely keep in mind of, okay, these I really want to do live, and how would I want them to sound? So that was really, really cool.
I'm sure like that also changes your perspective too. Like when you go back into the studio and work on new material, like I'm sure now you actually envision like the live show because you've been there.
Exactly. And I'm able to kind of see too, like what resonated the best. And I think being able to, see which songs people really connect with has been able to help me decide to do that.
So from this EP that recently dropped, No One Cries Forever, like which song do you feel resonated the most live on tour?
So we didn't play any of them yet, which
Wow.
is crazy because, we had a 30-minute set, but I'm really looking forward to be able to playing those, and the turnaround we found out about the tour. So it was it was an amazing opportunity that we got last minute. We were like, we're going. So yeah, we didn't end up playing any of them, but I'm very excited for the next time we go on the road to start sprinkling them in.
Okay. Did you try like what did you try? Like older material, like stuff that you already had on your own?
Set list kind of that I've already been doing. I mean, I opened up from the LA show, which was kind of before the EP, so we just kept the same set. So yeah, some of my favorites and ones that I had asked fans, like, which ones do you guys want to hear? And they had said the same ones a little over and over, so we just kept that.
Nice. Now, take me into the studio. Like, what was that like vibe like in the studio when you were writing this EP? Just because one of the things that I love is that the EP sounds cohesive. All 6 tracks sound cohesive, but you have different producers on every single track.
That's so crazy because it was such, I mean, when I was writing all these songs, I mean, it was in a period of my life where I was going through something, and I was going through, I was in a relationship. So I think the cohesivity kind of came from them all being about the same person in a sense, and kind of telling the story. But every single one had no idea they would ever live on a project together, which is crazy. But I think, it was really cool to be able to pick them. And I think, before this project, I was in a time where I was writing 2 to 3 songs every day, and I was really grinding in the studio. And these were the songs before gearing into, working with the same producer, kind of just me writing with him. And I didn't want to let go of these songs, and they had a special place in my heart. And I was like, I want to put out this project, and it's my birthday. Like, why not, just drop this project? And so I was really happy everyone on the team was down for it.
But even sonically, though, like you would think that each producer would have a different kind of style, a different kind of sound. Like it literally felt like all of them were in the same room at the same time, working on the same, like
mixed by the same person probably helped a little bit. But, I think also I'm very hands-on when it comes to the productions of telling them what I do like and what I don't like. And I think when you're able to simplify it down to chords and what that is, and I'm also I definitely take charge with the writing, and I think my writing is always going to be very cohesive. So I think that probably helps it a lot. And yeah, I think when I was picking the songs and picking which order it was going to go in, and I was like, this kind of works. This kind of does.
So you mentioned it was about a particular person. So that's why you felt it was cohesive. But at the same time, like it sounds like you were doing this in the moment, like while this was going on.
Exactly.
So, is that a first time for you, like writing music as those experiences and emotions are like literally happening to you?
Kind of. I think a lot of times, usually, I would write about past things. So that was kind of the first time. And this album was really the craziest experience for me to write about because I had started writing it when I was in a relationship. And then I was realizing it wasn't good for me. And then I realized, we went on a break and I was writing all the songs. And then we broke up. And then I, was healing and all of that. And then I fell in love. So this album is like this crazy, like really like, okay, this is how you go from this to this. But yeah, I think that was very intentional as I was writing it, of the order and stuff. And I think the EP was more of writing things because I love to write about what's really going on. It happened to be the present stuff, which was really cool. But I think being able to just pick them and make them into this whole world was also really cool.
That's a lot to really. that's a lot to experience. Yeah, like, I can't imagine like you coming in with all this like energy and emotions and like heartbreak or whatnot, and then coming out of the studio, I feel like you would feel spent. Like it's like emotionally drained.
I think I loved it, and I think if anything, writing down and sitting there, it was a way for me to just like forget about it a little bit and like kind of distract myself and just let it come out and heal and all that stuff. And I remember I would literally like when I was on the break and I was just heartbroken. I was so heartbroken and bawling at the studio. And I would literally be driving to the studio. I'd be on the phone with my therapist. And I would like have therapy and then I'd go to the studio. And then I would like call my therapist and I'd be like, okay, this is the song I wrote. Like what does this mean? And it was really cool. But I think it also really made me actually feel all of the feelings and go through it and move on and heal and actually look at it in a very different perspective, which was something that I hadn't done before. So that was definitely a first.
At this point, I would have just brought the therapist in the studio.
I'm like, so you talk about this, like writing credits. Yeah. But yeah.
So this album, and it's crazy because when the EP first dropped, Jenny was like, "Oh, there's a new single dropping in a couple weeks," or initially, and I was like, "Hold on, I'm still trying to like completely enjoy this album, this EP, but then now you have a 24-track record in the works. How do you have so much not necessarily to write about, but just like all of these emotions all at once? 24 tracks plus these 6. That's 30 tracks in less than a year. Like,
I really don't know. But I think it's like, I tell my team, I'm like, I want to drop 4 24-track albums in a year. Like, I just don't want to stop. I love it so much and it makes me so happy. And I think, now I've really been able to take breaks from my own stuff because I've been writing a lot for other artists, which has been cool. So I kind of split my weeks doing that. But I'm in the studio almost every single day. And it's so therapeutic for me that I think it kind of just comes out. And sometimes I'll write 2 songs a day and I'm like, okay, I need these to come out, so what project is this gonna go on? But the album we started writing a few months ago. It wasn't this crazy long process, which is, and I was like, guys, we got to get this released. And even if it hurts that comes out the next single, we wrote it 2 weeks ago, so it's very fast. And I think that's something that I love being independent, where I'm like, I remember we wrote that song and I was like, I love this song. I want it to come out next. Like, let's put this out next. And we had to finish it in 2 days. Poor Jason. He had to it was the craziest turnaround and he absolutely killed it. And we're so excited. But yeah, it's amazing. It's so much fun.
Blows my mind because I've been trying to write one song all my life and it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know how anybody could just do like 2 songs a day, or like when artists say like, oh, it happened in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, I can't even write like what I did today in 5 minutes.
You just got to let it you don't even think about it. Like, you just got to let it come out. And sometimes it just happens. And I was just like, okay, there we go. That's how I'm feeling. Like,
so let's talk a little bit about this new single that's dropping on the 28th. And it's literally like the first taste of this upcoming album. So you said it just happened a couple months ago and it was like a quick turnaround for you. So what really kickstarted it for you? Was it a melody, a lyric, something you were humming of this song? Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think I had a title for this one, but I don't think it was Even If It Was Hurts. It was something, and I was in the writer, me, Kate, and Jason, and I was talking. Kate and I were just having a conversation, how it always works, and I absolutely adore her. And we were just talking about a breakup and what was going on in my life. And I think Kate had said something. She's like, oh, well, like, you have to be the first one to leave or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's really cool. And then that's one of the lyrics in there. And it happened so fast. It just happened. And we, I love starting with it because I think the way that the album is kind of going to work is, we have a good amount of singles coming out before, and it kind of tells you this story, and then the album goes backwards, and it kind of like you kind of get the ending of the album first, and then you're gonna go back and see how we got
A little everything everywhere all at once type of style.
Exactly.
Just music based, right?
Exactly. So
How do you write something like that? Do you write it in chronological order? Like, do you write it the oldest first? Like, how did that work for you?
we definitely write it in order of what's going on. And I think, with my last breakup, there were moments where I was like, I love him, I don't love him, I love him, I want to go. There was kind of this push and pull back and forth, which I think is really cool. But now with ordering the album, I think we're gonna actually order it in the way that things happened, which is kind of cool. And I think it really just shows the honest journey of going in and out of something, and getting out of a relationship that you probably shouldn't have been in is never easy. And I think there's a lot of emotions that go through with that. So I'm trying to make it as honest as I can throughout it. So yeah, but I've never been more proud of a collection of songs, and it feels the most me anything has ever felt. So I'm very excited.
You mentioned that you've started writing for other artists as well. So are they all the same genre as you, or is it a mixture of genres? And how do you feel like that's helping you become a better songwriter when you do it?
I've done a lot of different genres. So I don't think genres even really ever matter to me. I think it's more of when I'm in the room with another artist, I will have to have like that conversation with them and like, hey, what's going on? Like, we have to write something real, like about what's going on. And I think with that, I mean, at the end of the day, I always look at writing, it's just emotions. It can be any genre, it can be any melody, and you keep going until they like something. And I think when I'm in a room with another artist, all I want is for them to love it. It doesn't matter if I do. So we'll just go back and forth, and I really like to have them be involved, and because that's what's important. I'm like, you're the artist, like let's write this together. And I think that's something that's been amazing, and everyone can write. So
what would you say was the biggest challenge with Even If It Hurts, even though it happened so quickly?
I think having to finish it in 2 days, because it was the fastest turnaround we'd ever had. And I think in the moment, I mean, the whole song, it's really about like, sometimes you have to leave even if it hurts. Like, even if it hurts in the relationship, and it's going to be hard, like you have to sometimes. And I think that was kind of a moment where it was a song that I had written about a moment of realization I'd already had. But I think, going back in that and obviously having to feel all of those emotions again, it's always, you go through the roller coaster all over again.
That's a lot of roller coasters on a 24-track album to deal with.
It's quite a lot.
So once this drops, you mentioned you wanted to kind of have more singles out before a record.
There's a single every 3 weeks, I think, every 4 weeks. Yeah, it's good amount until the album, and then there'll be a single a month after the album. So yeah,
you have your life plan. Like, that's basically what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm always writing, and I think it's important for me to get music out while it still means something to me, because then I can be honest about promoting it and explaining it as well. I can tell them, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is why I want this to be released there. And I don't know, I kind of think about it looking back in like 10 years, like I'll really be able to know exactly what I was going through by the songs that were out. It's like a journal that's just out there in public. And that's how I've found to love how to do it.
Do you feel like vulnerability gets easier every time?
Oh yeah, I don't even think about it anymore. I think something like being honest is like the most important thing in my life, and it was a value my dad taught me at a very young age, and I think I took it very close to heart. I was like, I always keep my word, and I always try to be honest, and through music being able to do that, I think that's just part of who I am as an artist now, and who NERIAH is it's always going to be honest in something that happened, and when I mess up, I'll talk about that too. So I think being able to give both sides of that is really special.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to more music from you. I'm looking forward to a live show. I'm bummed I didn't even know you had an LA show.
Well, we're going to have some more, so we'll make sure to get you.
And you guys be sure to check out NERIAH. EP's out now, and new single drops on the 28th. So I'm super excited. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging.